How's it going, everybody? It's Brody Frye, and today I have not only my number one supporter, my life partner, and my number one biggest fan, but also the love of my life on today's episode. You're not going to want to miss this, so stay tuned. Hey everyone, it's Brody Frye, and here we dive deep into difficult questions. We'll map out thoughts, theories, and crazy ideas for the love of knowledge and growth. So, how do we answer some of the mind's toughest questions? This is the Mind Hiking Podcast. All right, everybody, let's get into this. So this has been a long time coming, and we've kind of struggled to jive our schedules to make this work. But today, I got the love of my life and my partner, Catie Frantz. How are you doing tonight, Catie?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, thanks for having me, too, because this is going on yours, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have a topic that I want to discuss with you that I know that you are learning a lot about and becoming quite the expert. And I know you have a topic that you want to talk about too. So, yep. Ladies first.
Okay.
All right.
Well, no.
Okay.
No, I feel like I want to bring it up later. Sorry,
okay.
I'm going to bring this down. I'm a mess.
Oh, you're all good.
I actually kind of like it the way you had it.
It's okay.
Okay.
All right. Got the mic where you want it?
Yeah.
gives me thumbs up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Well, surprise, it's going to be you talking most of the time anyways, because I'm going to be asking you something.
Oh my gosh. I was like, please go first. You talk first.
Yeah, okay, I'll talk first so I can ask you a question.
So I can talk.
Well, I know that you are becoming quite the expert in manifestation.
Yeah.
So, and
Thank you.
taking a course too.
I
First,
am.
first off, I want you to explain a little bit about what manifestation is for those who don't know or, may have heard the term and not quite sure what it means. You want to kind of enlighten us.
Okay, so manifestation, a lot of people, when they think of manifestation, they think you find something that you love or that you can picture. Like for me, it would be like a Ford Bronco. So like if I'm thinking of a Ford Bronco, a white Ford Bronco, how would I manifest that into my life? And so someone would manifest what they want.
Not
and then
the
it
sport,
would
right?
Pop.
The full-size Bronco.
Oh.
Right? Gotta be specific.
I think. Full size with a removable top and
4-door, 2-door.
4-door.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
What
color are the rims?
Black.
Of course.
With
nice.
the little silver thingies around the wheel.
Uh-huh. Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I went to find those for my own car, and you looked at that and you were like, "Oh, honey, no, that's not for an SUV. That's for like a mud car." Like
Mud car.
Mud car. So basically manifestation is what a lot of people think it is just like you picturing what you want and it popping in your life. Whether if you're doing some voodoo stuff, if you're messing with a doll, if you're chanting something, if you're putting a potion together, a lot of people think it's that. Well, manifestation really is. So it's so easy for all of us to think we all want the same thing when realistically we're all completely different people. We really are, and no one's paying attention to you. We all have individual things that we want and that we want our lives to be, and no one else has the same exact thing as we do. And so your desires and everything that you want in your head are already yours. And that's what I'm learning, is that our desires are already ours. It's just our choice to claim them or not. So it's not necessarily like, okay, I'm going to have, I keep saying a Bronco, but like, I'm going to have like $100,000 by the end of this month. Like, that's not how it works. There's no time frame for things, but manifestation is basically you being more intuitive to your thoughts and your desires and the things around you, and it's not even you sitting down, manifesting, writing down what you want to. Sometimes I'll just like have little tiny manifestations where I'll get a visual in my head, whether if it's like a parking spot or if it's something like that, and I see it and it's there, that I manifested that. But it's more being actually intuitive with what your subconscious mind is telling you than just predicting what you want and saying that's it, and it being more just conscious mind and you just demanding something. So hopefully that kind of helps.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely does some clarification. So it's not all witchcraft and wizardry, huh?
Nope.
No Hogwarts?
No Hogwarts.
All right, that's pretty cool. I like that, like, tangibility, you know, where you got something that you can like actually grasp, hold on to. So it's more, you know, I think a lot of people get kind of hung up in the, you know, there's kind of like an iffy, you know, vibe or kind of scene there that people, I feel like, might not want to kind of associate with, and so it kind of steers them away from manifestation, or like a previous episode that I had about meditation and calming the mind. You know, there's kind of just like a negative, you know, which is ironic because it's like, you know, it's all about positivity.
Yep.
But it kind of gets this like negative rap about it.
Yeah. So actually, I just learned that manifestation used to be taught and used to be very, very common in a ritual that everyone of all religions would use. But then the reason why it became so hidden is because there are people who want to be powerful, or who, you know, like, there's kings and queens and leaders and all of that. And when everyone's successful, well, then who are they to lead? Who are they to be there for? And so basically down the line, it got more push and hidden and became family secrets and all of that because of people wanting to kind of keep it for themselves. But I feel like that's something that they should be teaching at school, personally, my opinion, because it's all about, honestly, positivity and optimism and trusting your gut and trusting the universe and the world and God and
absolutely everything. Yeah. No, it's crazy because, like, yeah, they structure this like pyramid type shape where, you know, somebody's got to hold the power, but that's not true, and that's a very limited mindset thinking, because when you think that way, you're thinking in such a scarcity mindset where you think there's a limited number of everything, where this universe is fully abundant and you can have anything you want. And, you know, manifestation is a way about approaching that. That's actually a great point that we kind of, you know, hopped on, but you want to give me some knowledge on abundance? I know you are a firm believer in the abundance of the universe. So,
well, I personally feel like when it comes to abundance, it's just having the mindset that when one person's successful, we're all successful, and that there's no scarcity. There's no scarcity here. All the scarcity is just what's in our own minds and what we form to believe. There's an abundance of money. If you are positive with money and you have a positive relationship with money and you mend your negativity towards money and you tell yourself everyone deserves money, there's no good or bad people that have money, we all have money, I deserve money, money loves me, you're gonna get money. Same thing with success. It's being in an environment where you all are supporting each other. Thankfully, like, I know being in the beauty industry, it can be really rare to find places that are like that. And the place that I'm working at now, it's like, you know, if someone is a rude client, like, we're not going to take them, you don't belong here, because we're all together. Or like, if one of us is sick, we'll gladly give our clients away to all the rest of the stylists that need it. Like, we all are about supporting each other and learning from each other and lifting each other up, because that's a true environment where we're all succeeding as one. And I feel like that's how the world needs to be. Like, same thing with, I love just like helping people and, you know, knowing that there's enough going around, and some people just are very scarce about it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. Yeah, so one thing that I like to think about, kind of like a little example, you know how much I love my examples, but I like to think of, people with like a scarce mindset as like a game of Pong. Like, that old Atari game?
No.
No? Pong, the very first video game?
Pong. No. Which one's that one? What is that one?
The one where you have the little ball, the little blip that goes back and forth with the paddles, and you just move the paddle up and down.
It was like this?
No, that's pinball. You don't know Pong?
God, take this off the podcast.
Okay.
Take this off the podcast.
No, I'm leaving this. This is quality content.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Cut the cameras.
Imagine two little paddles on each side of the screen.
Okay. Oh! Yeah, and they like slide up and down, and then you have to try and move it, and you have to try and keep the ball between the two, right?
Yeah, it's like air hockey, except
oh yeah,
the goal is the paddle and the goal moves.
I do know what you're talking about.
Okay. Good. All right. Well, okay. Think about that.
Okay.
And think about like, those paddles are people, and it's like you're bouncing this idea back and forth, or like our lives kind of like, this is kind of a stretch of an analogy, but I like the way
keep going.
Keep
going.
I'm gonna just keep going with it. So you just like, these paddles are just stuck on the TV screen, just going up and down slightly, just enough to save the ball. Mm-hmm. But they're working against each side. Each paddle is working against each other. They're trying to score on each other. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not life. Life isn't a battle. We're not against each other.
No.
Imagine if this analogy was life and these paddles decided to work together. Mm-hmm. Now, imagine, success. It's kind of just all like agreed upon that it's like everybody wants to become their higher self. Mm-hmm. There's something about growing or going up. So,
we're humans. We're constantly growing.
Right. But like the whole upward motion, like upward motion kind of like is a way about, portraying success. So with that said, this upward motion, imagine these Pong paddles just like bouncing this ball between each other. The next time one of the paddles hits it slightly upwards, the next paddle hits it slightly upwards again. Mm-hmm. And then the next one goes slightly upwards. And they're now, instead of working against each other, not caring where it goes as long as they can get it past the other person, now they're bouncing ideas and growth off of each other upwards.
Yep.
How cool is that? Working together to be able to climb and grow together. Like, working as a team. We're all humans, and we're all part of the same team, the same family.
We are.
Like, can you just imagine if we all just came together and just like brought each other up like that? Like, that would be so fucking amazing. God, like, ugh. It's a far stretch of an analogy, but I'm sticking to it. I like that.
No,
one.
It was a really good one.
Thank you.
A really good one. And I feel like it kind of ties into just the negative and positive words. Like I've talked about it in my podcast, but the 3 plants, one was told positive, I love you, you're beautiful, you're going to grow so big. And all 3 of them were the same exact plant. And then the middle one wasn't told anything. Yep. And then the third one was told all negative things, like you are small, you're ugly, like all this stuff. You're the worst.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember this. Actually, I remember reading about this. I think it was pea plants, right?
It might have been. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, so then the one that was told positive words grew up so tall, beautiful, more than what they even expected. The middle one grew its standard size, and then the third one didn't even grow.
Yeah.
And I think that just shows like with society and what we tell each other, and like, I don't know, personally me, like I've gotten to the point of my life where any like negativity, unless it's in my own brain, but any negativity of like someone talking or like work gossip or like anything like that literally drains me. Like the whole just like being mean and negative about everything, like I literally have to walk away, like, or I just can't say anything. Like it just drains me even if it's not coming out of my mouth,
Oh yeah.
That I think a lot of people need to like, we just need to like support each other and be more positive and help each other out and collaborate, because then the more we're all gonna grow. And again, there's no scarcity, there's no
Yep.
There's no limitation at all.
Yeah. And I'm not like trying to like say, oh, I have all the answers and I know everything. But another word that I love to just keep in my mind is perspective. When you have situations where you're disagreeing with somebody or something, or like you could take this anywhere, any example, where there's a disagreement, there's friction between you and anyone else,
and your loved one.
Yeah. And literally any example you can think of, even if it's somebody that cuts you off on the street while you're driving.
Oh yeah.
Like you can use perspective in any of those examples to think about, because we don't know what the other person, all we know about is what we're seeing through our own TV screens, what our own lenses. So you're going to argue for yourself. Like, does this person have any idea what I'm going through? Or, and you have no idea what they're going through. Maybe they cut you off because their mom or their dad is in the hospital or something, or say their child fell out of a tree and has a broken arm and they cut you off because they're on their way to the hospital
or frankly they didn't even see you and so they didn't mean to cut you off at all because they just didn't see you.
And then you're sitting there like, fuck you.
Actually, wait, really quickly.
Oh, am I not allowed to swear in your podcast?
No, it's okay.
Oh, okay.
No, you're good.
Sorry.
You're good. No, you're fine. Actually, I was gonna say, speaking of this, the other day, just to bring real life into this, but I was driving to Starbucks, and the way that like that turn is, so when we pull into our Starbucks, it's really hard. Like if someone's waiting to like turn out of Starbucks, it's really tight. So like you have to really go. Like there's not much room pulling into the drive-thru.
I hate those people. Piss me up. No.
So basically, I was in the right lane on the road, and then I went to go turn into the Starbucks, but then the parking spot 2 down, the car was backing out. So when the car backs out, you can't get in. Like you have to wait for them. And this car pulled up behind me and just blared their horn, but not even like honked at me, like held it down. And that was the first time ever and the longest time. I would say like in 3 years, I literally honked, rolled down my window and flicked them off. I was so angry. I know.
Oh my goodness.
I was so angry because I'm like, okay, this car in front of me is pulling out. There's not, if I went straight, I would have hit the car. Like there was nowhere for me to go. That it was more of me being like, okay, you're holding down your horn and you're not even looking at your surroundings. Like I literally can't go anywhere without getting in an accident. I literally couldn't move. It was not, because again, who knows what her perspective was? Who knows if she was rushing somewhere?
Well, and also along that perspective line, just because a decision is made or something happens or that there is friction like that, that does not mean that it's justified or right. Because, somebody could have just went through, like it could have been like that person just or is going through like a divorce or a breakup or something, just found out about it. And now they're pissed off. And then next thing you know, you're blocking the street and they just, that's like kind of a breaking point, and they just lay on the horn. Not justified, not the right decision, but when things are happening in people's lives, sometimes you just kind of got to vent like that. So that could be another. We're not defending people, but perspective is just an interesting word that I it's just something that I like to keep in mind. And with this Starbucks story, I have a funny story as well. Same Starbucks.
Oh, really? That Starbucks.
It's a danger zone. Yeah. A lot of angry people.
Casey,
there.
If you're listening, it's the Starbucks you worked at.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So I actually was going there, pulled in. So like the drive-thru's kind of tight. There's not really too much room to go around for the people that parked and went in, and then like you got to drive around the drive-thru portion. But there's like a kind of a drop off there with a creek that runs there, and there's no guardrail, so it's just like straight drop off with water. And the drive-thru lane is right there, and there's like barely another little lane to drive past. So I'm right on that corner, just turning. But like, so I drive a crew cab F-250 6-foot bed, so it's a big.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a big truck, and what people don't quite understand is these things don't turn like cars. It's a long truck, and I'm not. People that don't drive trucks don't understand this, but it's not like you're being a dick because you're taking up so much space. I have to swing wide, otherwise I'm gonna hit
You
the.
got that big caboose.
Yeah, my booty's huge. I gotta swing wide so I don't run over the curb or run over. Like I can even hit the little order taking box, or the
Yeah.
menu screen, because if I stayed in the lane fully, my rear tire is gonna drive right over that, or I'm gonna side swipe it, and so I have to swing out and cut it in. But like, there's a point where I swung out, and then the car in front of me stopped, and it was like backed up there, so I was like half in the other lane because I was like mid swinging out and like wanted to cut right back in, but then we got like stopped or jammed up there. So then there's a lady and a guy they backed out of their parking spot, and then they're trying to go around me, and yeah, I was in their lane partially, like just the front end portion,
Yeah,
and I'm
there was
like
nothing
halfway.
you could do.
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting to be jammed up there, so I was just trying to swing wide to make that turn, and they just drive by laying on the horn, not even looking at me. They're flipping me off, middle finger out the window. Yeah.
Was I there for that?
No, you weren't. This is on my way to work.
Okay. Well, I feel like maybe we've had another time where that's happened.
It could have. Yeah.
With a misunderstanding with your truck.
Yeah, people
Because
just
you're not a jerk driver. Like, knowing
I don't
you,
try to be.
being your girlfriend, you're not like that. Like,
Yeah.
you're the safest, most courteous
thank you.
driver I've ever sit passenger princess with.
and
And
thank you.
and like, he doesn't drive where like people do flick him off, but when it comes to stuff like that, I feel like we've had another incident in that Starbucks also, in that drive-through, where someone did the same thing to you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I try to be as safe as possible. I don't like passing people. I don't like causing unnecessary attention, especially negative attention. But and even as far as like gaps when you're pulling out in front of people, like I don't like chancing anything. So, I'd much rather wait even another minute or two than risking my life. And especially with semis or like box vans or trucks or stuff like that, I hate pulling out in front of, like, I'd rather wait another minute or two for that gap to pass and let the cars behind me honk at me than chance trying to pull out in front of that, because they're not going to be able to stop. Like, you see
No.
cars that pull out in front of like big semis, and it's like, you don't realize these trucks, especially if it's fully loaded, you don't know what that thing's carrying. They're not going to be able to stop like your car can.
No.
But
No. Even then, that's why, like, when I'm right next to box trucks, I always just speed up, so I'm right either next to them, like where their mirror is,
Yeah.
or I'm ahead, because regardless, I just feel like I don't want to be in that side spot or that blind
Right.
spot,
Right, blind spots. That's why it has the stickers on the back of the truck. Blind spots
Yeah.
or takes wide turns. If you can't see the mirrors, I can't see you, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, all of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, again, with that perspective thing in mind, this is kind of a rant, but it wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be. It was more supposed to be like,
This is how our actual conversations are, though.
yeah.
So where were we?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you could turn that. I could face this camera right back at me again and be like, any of these people have totally good reasons for what they're doing. Again, like a car honking behind me could totally be like any of those examples I said, with like their kid is injured and they're trying to get to the hospital, or anything like that could be happening. And I don't, like, I try my best not to get upset with other people, because you never
Yeah.
know what's happening in anybody else's lives. And this is definitely a topic that is kind of freshly being learned. And
Always.
yeah, oh yeah, this is a battle that you're always gonna be fighting, just as humans, because as humans we have emotions.
Yeah, we do.
So this is something that you can't just shut off.
And also, when it comes to perspective, I feel like not only is it trying to look at other people's perspective, but it's the perspective of, like, you have that annoying sibling that you just don't get along with, or you have that friend or that acquaintance or that coworker, or it's like they drive you absolutely insane and you're just like, get out of my life, or like I'm being harsh about it,
Yeah.
but like those that literally drive you nuts.
Yeah.
And like to the point where you're like, I wouldn't normally say this about anyone, but I wish blah blah blah, you know, like
Yep.
like because they just frustrate you so much.
Yeah.
But then the moment that they had a family member die, or like just something happened where then you're like, oh, I really feel bad for them, or
Yep.
you know, like they were a good person, or like
Yep.
you know, like it's more of like the perspective of not knowing what people have to deal with at home, not knowing, like that's why I'm all about, I wasn't always like this, oh my gosh, no.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yep.
this is a new thing now, but like
We're always
literally
learning and growing.
yeah,
It's all good.
yeah, literally just like leading with love and just trying
Absolutely.
to just be kind. And even if someone's literally the rudest to me ever, I'm just gonna smile and be kind.
Only
regardless.
punch them once.
Yeah, stop. Only once.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, but yeah, only punch them once.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, you know, you just don't know people's circumstances, and all I can do is control my own actions, and I have to sleep at night
Right.
knowing the stuff that I did, not what everyone else did. And so I just feel like that's all I can control, so might as well make the best of it.
Yep. And lead with love.
Lead with love.
Yes.
Mhm.
Very beautifully said.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
Thank you.
love it.
I know you were like, Catie, this is like the bajillionth time I've heard you say this term.
Oh no. It's really nice. I like it. But yeah, kind of to go back to your last point. Are you okay?
Yeah, I was literally, but I didn't know you were gonna hit record, so I literally was about to go right into the mic, and then you started talking, and I just kept it in.
Yeah, you looked like the what was that? You know, where you filled it.
And then people like pop your cheeks.
Yeah,
Go,
I feel like that was from a movie though. Wasn't that from a movie or something? Yeah, that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to distract you.
Oh, it's okay. Anyways, to go back to your point about just like people that like really upset you, where you kind of like want them out of your life, or like, I feel like there are those people where you do kind of like in the moment wish bad things, and it's like
Take them for granted a little bit.
yeah. There's definitely those people, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know. Then sometimes you see stuff that's like really bad that actually happens to them, and you're like, oh no, like I said bad things about this person, but like they don't deserve this. I don't know if everybody's experienced something like that, but somebody that you've talked poorly about or thought poorly about, and then you see something horrible happen to them, and then it's like, that's terrible. Like you say one thing, but then like when things happen, it's like nobody deserves that.
Yep.
You know. So again, with the perspective thing and like the strength of your words, and it's a battle to just keep in mind how powerful your words are. Our words are. That's a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, because we get wrapped up in the day-to-day life, day in and day out, and it's really easy to take things for granted, and you know that's a tough one.
Yeah. And I mean, perspective, really, if we're gonna wrap it up to ourselves too. I
Yep.
mean, you know, you see someone make a mistake, or a close friend of yours, or they talk badly about themselves, and it's so easy for you to be like, stop it, you're beautiful, you're this, you're that, you're so amazing, or you're really easy to just forgive them or be like, it's okay, you're fine, you're doing great, or you're amazing at this, or
Yep.
and just be so positive. But when it's yourself, it's the exact opposite.
Yep.
Every little thing you're critiquing, every little thing you're getting in your head, and you're putting those words in your head, and it's having that perspective of, am I treating myself the way that I treat other people?
It's an art to be able to look at yourself in the same aspect that you look at other people like that. And again, that's a constant battle to have to be. It's a very highly sought after learned skill to be able to do, to be able to look at yourself. And the tough thing too is like, it's not like any other skill where you just learn it and you got it. You know, you can't just like ride this bike whenever you want. No, this is something that you have to strive for. You have to choose this every day. And, you know, it's really easy to slip out and revert back to old negative behaviors. But it's what matters is the moment you realize it, catch yourself and bring yourself back. That's what matters. Knowing when a mistake happens and then bringing yourself back. The constant act of bringing yourself to where you want to be is what matters truly. Not that you made another mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. This happens your whole life. What's important is your ability to catch yourself, look at yourself, catch yourself, and bring yourself back over and over again.
Yeah, I'm lost in a trance while you're talking right now. I'm just like listening. But yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, it's being able to, catch yourself. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
It's okay, cutie. I think we hammered this point pretty hard. So, would you like to switch over to the topic you wanted to discuss?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so something so something I learned recently, so I'm taking the course that I'm taking right now.
Yeah, talk about it.
Which is basically not only about manifestation, but it's also it's a lot of, there's like RRT therapy in it and ways to really tap into your subconscious mind.
Talk about what that is.
Rapid resolution therapy. So it's basically, I don't know in depth about it, but basically what their whole thing is they use, so if you're struggling, you feel like you have a wall up and you feel like you're struggling with money or with relationships or with some certain aspect of your life, they actually use methods to tap into your subconscious mind to basically break down that wall, either reprogram your subconscious mind. It's kind of like hypnotherapy in a way. And they basically their whole thing is just getting to the root of the issue and getting rid of it completely. Instead of when you go to like regular therapy, they just have you talk it out. It's really from your perspective. It's more of just like an emotional thing, just getting it off your shoulders. But their whole thing is no, we don't want the emotional part. We want to tap into your subconscious mind and just hope you never struggle with that again and correct it right away. So basically the course, it's by Catherine Zenkina, but she actually goes to RRT and is getting certified in it. So a lot of things she's learning from Dr. O'Connelly, I think is his name. It might not be. But she's learning a lot of different methods from him. And so a lot of the courses have RRT in them. But mainly a lot of it's just self-help. It's a lot of just like breaking down walls, like with money, with life, with anything like that. And then just getting to where you want to be in your life. And so one of the things we're right now working on, like the root of, why we feel the way we do. And like personally with me, having the course, I find myself getting very overwhelmed. So like some people react to things differently, but I find myself comparing to being like, well, like how come she had that manifestation, but I haven't had it yet? And it's so common. Like you hear about people who have already graduated. We had like a little Zoom call with all of them. And they were even saying like, it's such a common feeling to have that. Like they could have struggled through it with most of MBA or anything that it's called, Manifestation Babe Academy MBA. And so, so a lot of them are saying like, it's really easy to compare yourself, or I realize like I get really avoidant. I keep wanting to watch the videos nonstop to retain the information and write everything down. But also I like find myself, it's not that I'm like just sitting on the couch doing nothing. It's like, I find myself, constantly working, constantly needing to go to the salon, constantly needing to do this. Oh, I need to do this instead, and avoiding taking the course. But then I like finally realized it and was like, oh my God, that's like my subconscious mind being like, no, you don't want disappointment. When that shouldn't be what's in your head. That shouldn't be what you should be telling yourself. Those are just like the things that you learned throughout your life that you expect or you're putting in your own head. So basically what I learned leading up to this whole thing was that there was a science experiment, which basically they found a group of like 8 scientists. They gave them all just a regular rat. But then they told these scientists, okay, so when we chose these rats, we did studies on them. So some of them are smart, some of them are really dumb. You don't know which one you have. Or actually, just kidding. They did know which one they had. They were told either they had the smart rat or they had the dumb rat. They all were a regular rat. They all tested previously to be just a regular rat that could easily just do whatever. Just do whatever you would do with it. But in the study, what they had to do is they had to have the rats go through a maze and complete it and see how fast they can complete it, depending on how smart they are. So as you would think, the scientists that had the smart rat were able to easily guide the rat out of the maze. But then the scientists that were told they had a dumb rat, the rat took forever. And they didn't. They were just like, this is a dumb rat. This is ridiculous. Took them forever.
You
like,
stupid rat.
You stupid rat. You sewer
dumb,
rat.
dirty animal.
Exactly. And so they just struggled with that rat. And then what the whole study was whatever they told them was what they predicted out of the rat, and that's what happened.
A self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. So if you are telling yourself that you never fit in with a group of friends, you're never going to fit in with a group of friends. If you tell yourself that you're dumb, you're going to believe that you're dumb, and you're going to start saying things dumber, saying things, if you tell yourself you're not good at spelling, well, then you're not going to be good at spelling. If you tell yourself all these things, no matter what you tell yourself, that's what you're going to be. And you have to fully believe it too. It takes a while, but with persistence, if you believe that you're broke all the time, you will be rich. But if you tell yourself and believe yourself that you're going to be rich. And so one of the things that I'm also learning in my course, I don't want to give it away because also I don't know how much information I can give about the course, but is basically the hierarchy of change and how people normally what they do is, for example, they want to go to the gym and they want to be fit. So what do? They go buy a gym membership. They go buy new gym clothes. They get a duffel bag. They buy all their stuff before they even go.
Yep.
Then they tell themselves, okay, I'm going to do it like 3 to 5 days, maybe. Then they start going and they feel really good, but then they just get out of it because they're not used to it. They used to be able to sleep in. They used to be able to do all this other stuff. They're just not a gym person. I am just not a gym person. I just can't get into it. If you tell yourself all that stuff, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, or if you're waking up and every morning you're like, oh, screw this. Like those are your first words. Then you're not going to want to get up in the morning. You're not going to want to wake up early. If you're waking up early and your alarm goes off and your first words are, screw this.
Yeah. That's basically.
And then also to kind of go back a little bit too, fake it till you make it, right? That's kind of like overused and people look down on that, but there is truth to that. I mean, you want a quick example? Here's a quick example. If you're pissed off or if you're super sad or something, you can go look at yourself in the mirror, or I think it works better if you're looking at yourself in the mirror, but just obnoxiously laugh. Force yourself to just obnoxiously laugh and wait and see how long it takes you before that fake obnoxious laugh becomes real.
Yep.
It's just like you could do that with any emotion too. You pick any emotion and you can make a shitty situation out of a perfectly good situation. Say you're super happy and you're having fun with friends or something, and then all of a sudden, like, you just get grumpy all of a sudden. And then all of a sudden you're actually grumpy, and it's just like, this isn't even fun. So, like, you could do that any direction, but it works. There is truth to that. And a lot of people are just like, I'm not going to just sit here and pretend, blah, blah, blah. But that's actually how it works. Our mind is following that physical body, the physical action. So.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree with that. And again, what I was leading up to was back to the hierarchy of change. People always buy everything first. They try and convince themselves that they're this kind of person. And then they start going to the gym, and then they know in their head, oh, I just want to be skinny. Well, instead, we have to be doing it the opposite way. We have to already claim that we are this gym person. We have to already instill in our heads why we're doing it, the benefits we are already receiving in it, and already imagine in our heads us going to the gym constantly. We have to identify with it. And then we can figure out, okay, well then, knowing me, I am going to be going 5 days a week. I already am going 5 days a week. And then you get that gym membership. And then when you start working out for a while, then maybe treat yourself to some new shoes or some new gym wear or anything like that. But it's, you need to
and
know.
that's better too, because then you're stimulating yourself where like you start doing this and then you're rewarding yourself for doing it instead of rewarding yourself for not doing anything yet and then trying to work up that courage or muscle to be able to do that. It's not going to work that way. That's backwards. You got to do it, identify with it, make the action, take the steps, and then, reward yourself for those steps. Like you said, you can go buy yourself a nice pair of shoes or whatever. Like identify and make the action first.
Yep.
And then
you have to already know that you are that person.
Absolutely. And this kind of same, thought process goes along with that old saying of being the change that you wish to see in the world, which is actually, people think that that's a Gandhi quote, but that's actually twisted. It's not quite like that. I can't remember the exact quote, but I know that that's not a direct quote from him, but the gist of the idea comes from him. So, yeah. What do you think?
No, I just agree with that. I mean, be the change you want to see in the world. Put out there what you want to receive. Don't treat someone horrible, but then be like, why are they so mean to me? You know, like, it's just, yeah, be the change you want to see. I mean, I just feel like we're all trying to be our better selves, be better for our kids.
Point out flaws in others, judge people, and turn that mirror back on yourself. Turn that camera on yourself. Perspective. Keep perspective in mind. And it's easy for me to just sit here and preach this, but if you're not receiving it, then you're doing the same thing. You're being part of the problem, which it takes courage and confidence to take in criticism and to be able to understand this, especially when you're hearing it from somebody else. It's easier to come to that realization by yourself, but it's definitely strong and courageous to be able to hear it from somebody else and still soak it in. So
yeah, especially if you work in the service industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Knowing perspective and just understanding that, someone else's circumstances could be different. And sometimes, I mean, I can say I'm guilty of it too. I mean, there's some times where I'm having just a horrible week, horrible day, feeling the worst. And either I'm just super emotional with people or snippy or, we all go through it, and we just need to learn to forgive ourselves more and also know that we are affecting others too, not just constantly forgive ourselves and think we're not an issue. I mean, we all have our own things regardless, but just learning to just respect people and forgive yourself and know we're all human and we're constantly always growing.
I love that word you use too, ripples. We're all water droplets in the pond. Mm-hmm. We're all putting out different frequencies. If you listen to my episode 3, talk about frequencies a little bit there.
Yep.
But yeah, just ripples in a pond, where every action and every decision that we make is affecting not just us, but the world around us, not just the individuals we're speaking to. It's, that goes out through the world because you leave an impression on somebody and then that person has, all their connections and they start leaving impressions based off of their attitudes or their moods. This can just branch out. We really are all one. We're all just like a massive nervous system where we all just feel for each other. So you just got to keep this in mind. It's powerful, big thought, big thinking, but yeah, keep that perspective in mind and remember we're all one. We're all humans. We're all going through shit.
Yeah, we're all trying to be our best and live our dream life, and also know most of the time your aspirations might not be someone else's too. Something to ourselves could be so obvious and everyone wants this or everyone wants this kind of career or everyone wants this kind of lifestyle, when realistically no, not everyone does. So that's why also we shouldn't feel so scarce, feel like everything's so limited and that
Yep.
not everyone can be successful and have what they want.
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty of success out there for everybody.
Yeah.
Just go find it.
And also, really quickly, too, another thing that
Yeah.
I have always reminded myself, too, is making sure that the things that I'm doing and constantly thinking of who I want to be. So, like, oh, okay, I want to have a successful podcast, but I barely pump out episodes and I barely touch it. Well, then how do you expect that? Or, oh, I want to be a YouTuber, or I want to be this, but yet I'm like afraid to post any video and I want to get more engagement first on my Instagram or whatever. Like, you can't keep waiting for things to happen. You have to do them, and you have to establish the routine that your best self would already be doing.
Yep.
And you need to be doing that because that's what's going to align you with who you need to be.
Yep. And pay attention to your focus point too, because when you start doing something and you're sitting there focused on what you've done already and why it's not working, guess what? It's not going to work. You're stuck in that loop, that negative loop. You find your focus point. You find your goal. You know, you got to keep that goal in your sights. So, you know, when little setbacks happen, you're not even paying attention to them. It means nothing to you because you're not even looking at that.
Yep.
Your sights are set so far out that nothing that happens now is going to affect you. You know what you're doing. You know where you're going, and nobody's going to stop you. And if anybody tries to, it's just fuel for your fire.
Yep. And also, I want to put a little visual out there too, but when you are thinking of something, it's what's going to pop up in your reality. So when I got my white Ford SUV, now while I'm driving it, all I can see is that car, or like your truck. Now all of a sudden I see all of the same, literally same color, same model, same make of your truck. And when I've never seen it before you got it, and it's more of just knowing what you're paying attention to, and what you know is what's going to pop up. So if you keep telling yourself, when you go somewhere, you could get hurt, or you could get mugged, or you could, well, then that's the kind of energy that you're putting out into the universe that's going to happen to you. That's the kind of stuff you're going to see around in your surroundings. Same thing with the news. Yep. You're going to see all of that negativity in your surroundings when you let that in.
Yeah, the world's going to be garbage if you're watching the news all the
time.
And
if that's what you're thinking it is.
Fear sells. That's
exactly.
all they're doing.
Exactly. And so when you keep thinking those fear thoughts, that's everything that's going to happen to you, compared to if you're thinking to yourself, like, money loves me, I have so much money, I have abundance, I'm happy in my life, I'm this, I'm that, and you keep it takes a lot of work at first. You're gonna have to keep repeating these important things, what's most important to you, what your higher self is, in your head, and visualize it. But then after that, it's gonna be your reality. Yeah. Because that's what you focused on, and nothing was gonna stop you until you were gonna get there, and you know you were gonna get there.
Yeah. No, there was an example Tony Robbins has that is a great example of this, where and I'm not going to quite get the colors and stuff right, but the gist of it is he told the audience to look for everything red in the room. Look around and spot all the red, or find something red in the room. So everybody's looking around looking for the red in the room. And then he's like, okay, everybody find something. Okay, now turn to the person next to you and tell them something blue that you saw. And, you know, everybody's like, oh shit. Because nobody's looking for the blue. You're focused on the red, you know, so do that with your goals.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's the perfect tie-in. Yeah, I agree with that.
Awesome. Anything you would like to say to call this episode complete? I think this is a powerful one.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I love talking about manifestation, and I went into this not knowing the subject at all that you were going to bring up, so I think that was really
Me either.
good.
This was very natural, too. I knew I wanted to bring up manifestation, and that was it. But this is very powerful. I love this one.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you. You cutie. All right. Well, rock on, everybody. This is a good one. And, well, for the Mind Hiking Podcast, stay tuned for Wednesday's bonus episode, and
go check out the Living Confidently podcast.
Definitely. It's great. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. This is a good one. I really appreciate all your thoughts and opinions, and reach out to us on in the show notes. We got our Instagrams and then my email, the mindhikingpodcast@gmail.com. thoughts, questions, concerns, ideas for future topics, just let us know.
All right. Bye.
Bye.